Welcome back to What Arty Noobs for General Disturbance. You'll have to excuse me if I'm slightly different in this replay from previous ones because unfortunately we've had a bit of a problem with OBS and it's not been picking up the sound, so this is a bit of a test. You're looking at an E75, which is a Tier 9 German heavy tank. It's located on the westbourne of Westfield under the command of Cross of St George. Well, this tank is the E version of the Tiger II, the Entwicklung series tanks. The Tiger II was a really good tank during the war, but obviously the Germans were spending a huge amount of resources manufacturing this tank, and more tanks were actually destroyed on the ground by the RAF and the US Air Force than were actually put into battle by the German army, and as a consequence they needed a cheaper and an easier way to actually manufacture up-to-date heavy tanks, and well, the E-Series enabled them to get that done. He just hit the Type 4H. Now, as you know, the Cross of St George likes to play with standard ammo only. He doesn't play with premium ammo. It's not that he doesn't believe in it, it's just he thinks that he can play it without using premium ammo at all, and he has had some success with this. Now, the Type 4 did manage to get a hit in with the armor piercing, and he's just about to put around into the side. Yep, he got the 279E. You can see even a 279E can be penetrated from the side, and that's the 128mm gun, which is capable of doing 530 alpha, and he got a high roll on an Object 279E by putting the round into a weak spot. There's the 279E looking at him, and the 279E fires a heat round back at him, trying to get a weak spot. Yeah, and he gets it. In fact, actually, if he aims at those specific areas, you know, underneath the wheel arches area, he could get those rounds through, and they might hit a delicate spot such as a Anorak. Well, takes them around from the Type 4, and he was Anorak this time, so he can't fix that for another 15 seconds because he's still on cooldown after using the repair kit to fix his tracks to get out of trouble in the first place. Type 4 is going to probably try again and bounces this time, and he's using the building to protect himself from the Object 279E. He's trying to sneak up on him, but unfortunately it doesn't work out so well for the 279E because he is taken out of the game by Willa 15. Well, he's got his rear to that convoy over there, but the convoy's not really paying attention to him, which is a big mistake. Okay, the Type 4's gone, so he doesn't need to worry about that guy. But now he got the convoy, actually did kill him. Now he's going for the 704. Yep. Gets a nice little pen there. I think the mod showing the reload is a bit off. The standard reload is 15.05 seconds for this gun, the 128mm, but he's managed to get it down to 14.34. Yeah, it is a rather long reload, very long reload. Took it around from a Leopard 1 now. That's got, he's got the 105mm gun, so he does need to get the other side of this building to protect himself. Can't get a shot. Oh, 2684. And he pens him with, well, was it a pen? But he managed to get 55 hit points of damage. And the team seems to be doing rather well because there's only 4 enemies left. And remember, he's played this game with nothing but standard ammo. There's the 704 coming into view. Hunts around in, gets a high roll for 590. See, he was moving there to see what the Leopard 1 was doing. There's a pair of Leopard 1s on the enemy team. They're rather good players, so he needs to be wary about them. The 704's gone, and that means now the team will be paying attention to the Leopard 1s. But he's just going to hold on here because he's a one-shot at the moment to those leopards. So if he goes around the corner and gets spotted by them, he's going to be in a lot of trouble. He needs the Run Sorrente, the Conqueror, and the Emil too to take the attention of those leopards, so he can then move out behind them and start taking enemy damage. Because the fact is that he's a one-shot, they're not. Well, the Run Sorrente's a one-shot, but okay, so they've taken away their attention. They aren't getting hit, but they are also bouncing rounds from those 105mm guns. He doesn't want to get spotted if he can help it, because he knows he'd be out the game just like that. The E75's got basically very similar components and parts to the E50. They would have been built on the same production line. There goes the Conqueror. So the leopards are getting hit and they are taking damage on our teammates. In fact, there goes the Run Sorrente. So now we do have to back up the Emil 2, who's now laying into that last leopard 1. The only other enemies left on the game are a Standard B and oh no, this is not so good. The Emil's gone down. There's the Standard B across the valley. We do have a weapon trader and an Object 704 who's out of position, doesn't appear to be doing much. Put back up coming in the form of the Guerrilla 15, but remember he's got no armor. We're the only one who does actually have armor. Across the St. George wants his teammates to tell him where those enemies are, because if he just blunders across, the Standard B or the leopards are going to get shots on him. And there's the weapon trader just got hit, and I think that was a round from the Standard B from across the valley. There's the Standard B, so now he knows what he's got to work with. He's got to get rid of that Standard B if he can help it. Thin armor, should be able to kill him. Yes! One shot! And that's really useful because that changed the battle now. It's only the leopard 1 left. The 704's finally deigned to come and join us. Yeah, he's been sitting around jerking off, and now he's actually coming into the battle. Now, yep, of course the St. George is just going to stay here and let them find the enemy first before he actually gets involved, because he just doesn't want to go in and get taken out with one round from a leopard. Now, it looks to me like the leopard's gone across the valley and he's over in the corner, challenging everyone to come over and join him. We are capping. The E3's decided to go into the cap. He's staying high for the moment. It might be a good idea to go across. There's the leopard. Okay, we've spotted the leopard. He has come for the reset, and well, we hit him, but we didn't actually pen. I think that hit the tracks. The leopard didn't spot us because there were so many trees in the way. That long reload, it really is so long. I'm sorry if my voice sounds very different in these replays, but it is OBS that's causing the problem. Oh, he's been found! Okay, well, yeah, that's what he was afraid of. He was a one-shot for the leopard. So it's now going to have to be either the Guerrilla 15 or the T110E3. 704, again, is just sitting nearby the wreck. We're almost about to cap out. And, oh my god, he got a reset. The leopard actually got a reset, but he is a one-shot for the Guerrilla, and that is the end of the game. Here's the end of battle results, and that was the first class tanker for Cross of St. George in the E75. In fact, that's the first time he's had a first class tanker, because he's got scrolls underneath and you only get them as the first time. He also got a spotter for spotting at least 1,000 hit points of damage on the enemy, and he got a fire for effect for doing more damage than the hit points of his own vehicle. And in fact, actually, he was quite successful during the game, but he didn't actually get any other medals. His win rate was 5,341, which is Super Unicum standard, and a bit more. But let's have a look at team score and see where he did. Well, he didn't get the highest damage by far. That's the Leopard 1, who, the last one in the game, he got a high caliber defender and a tank sniper for 6,953 hit points. The second highest damage was the Gorilla 15, who killed him with 4,243, and the third highest damage went to the Emil 2 with 4,165 hit points. Cross the St. George did a very good game, but he came out with 3,609, and there was 2 players ahead of him in this game, so he actually ended up in 5th place overall, but it's still a fair amount of damage for a heavy tank. We look at the number of kills, we can see that it's shared between the Gorilla 15 and the Leopard 1, and they both got 4 each. 2 kills went to the Emil 2, to Cross the St. George and his E75, the Runner Sorrente, the Type 5 Heavy, the T110E3, who was stood in the cap, and the Standard B, the Leopard 1, and the Object 2684 on the enemy team. When it came to base XP, though, he was actually in 2nd place, because the Emil 2, he managed to get 1,211, and Cross the St. George got 1,111 as well. He got 1,111. There's only 2 players who managed to get over 1,000 base, and the reason they did so well was because they were lower tier tanks in a higher tier game. So it was a tier 10 game, they were tier 9, they were earning extra XP for every high tier tank that they struck. He fired 12 shots in that game, 11 of them hit the target and 7 of them penned, so it was only those ones that didn't pen, like the shots he fired at the Type 4 Heavy. He did fire a couple that just didn't pen, but yes, he was having difficulty trying to pen with standard ammo, but you can pen with standard ammo. You can see here that, yes, he did actually get pens with nothing but armor piercing and HE. 2 splash on the enemy as well, 3,609 hit points of damage, of which 1,339 were at more than 300 meters. 8 hits received from the enemy, 5 of them penetrated, 3 non-penetrations, and 1,800 hit points of damage blocked by armor. So you can block shots in the E75, but it's not as foolproof as some of the other tanks in the game, not as OP, but you can punch holes in Object 279Es if you know where to hit them. He also spotted 3 enemy vehicles, damaged 7 of the enemy, killed 2, did 1,895 hit points as spotting assist in that game. He earned 59,472 credits from the game, but after repair, ammunition, resupply and consumables, and it was consumables that hit him in this one because he was using the large ones, he actually ended up with a loss of 12,622 credits, 1,666 XP, and no multipliers, so that's all the experience points he took away. So, first battle done. I'm sorry if this is a test and my voice sounds terrible. I'm still trying to correct OBS. I didn't want you to miss out on any videos in the meanwhile. So I hope Cross the St. George doesn't mind that I'm using his videos, or his replays rather, as a test. Let's have a look at the armor. It's good armor, but it's not foolproof. As you saw during that battle, he was penetrated by similar tier and higher tier tanks. The upper plate 160mm, canted back it comes out at 258. Lower plate 130mm, only 242. So you can see the Tiger 2 and the E75 share one habit. They've got vulnerable lower plates. You can't penetrate easily through the front plate unless you use premium ammo, as we've seen in other replays where an IS-4 took on an E75. He could easily punch heat rounds straight through the front of the turret, no problem whatsoever, because it's only 280mm, but it is flat, and therefore the shells can gain purchase and punch through. You don't want to aim for this side here, the sides of the cheeks of the turret, because it's such an angle it will bounce off. If we go to the live model, again, because people like to see this, you can see straight away the vulnerable spot is really basically that lower plate. The upper plate is fairly foolproof. The sides of the turret there, again, going to bounce, and of course that's fairly thick there. If we go to this angle here, you can see as he's angling, he actually improves his frontal area, but he does actually provide you with a weak spot there on the cheeks of the hull, where it actually goes down to 232 and 120 120mm, people would shoot through the front drive to actually try and take this out. The cupola is also a spot that you can aim for, 160mm, 165 there. If the tank's side onto you, it is very weak, 120mm all the way down the sides. Sides of the turret are weak as well. It's only 160mm, only coming effectively out at a slightly more than that, and the rear of the vehicle is very vulnerable indeed. 120mm at the back there, 160 on the turret, but at this tier that's standard penetration for standard AP rounds, so it does make it very, very difficult if you are in this tank in a battlefield and you're at tier 10 or tier 9. The enemy's going to have enough punch to punch through you, so you do have to angle really if you're going to save yourself. And as you can see, if I'm angling the tank there, the front plate looks pretty solid. It's really these weak spots on the sides of the turret which lend themselves to being penetrated when somebody comes up to you and they're angling on you. So that's the armour. Let's have a look at the modules. Well, the driver's up front on the right hand side. He's got a radio operator, gunner's mate, sitting alongside him, transmission in front of them, directly actually protecting them. But there's two massive ammo racks that go right along the sides of the vehicle on either side, which is kind of an odd place to put the ammo. You'd think they'd actually put it down in the hull, but I think it's got torsion bar suspension that kind of reduces the amount of space you've actually got in the tank. So they've decided to put the spare rounds into these areas here where they can be penetrated, and the rear of the turret as well has got the ready racks for use for loading into the gun. We've got the gunner up front, we've got the TC behind him, he's got the cupola, the loader's on the opposite side, and funnily enough the loader actually does have a viewport there, and he's shoveling the shells in as fast as he can. Well, if we go to the back, we can see there's no fuel tanks sandwiching the engine. In this one, the fuel tank is right at the very back of the tank, which is kind of odd, because normally you'd expect the fuel tanks to be either side of the main engine, which does present a bit of a vulnerability, because if you're aiming for the engine, then you might actually get the fuel tanks as well. But then the fuel can actually act to protect a tank. It actually does provide defense against armor. Funnily enough, yes, this has been shown. Ed Webster, he's actually shown on his channel, Armored Archives, that you can use fuel as an armor. You can see the big fuel tank on this one is right at the very back of the tank, and kind of protecting the engine from attacks from the rear. But if you're going after this tank and he's angling on you, just remember those side areas there that you can punch around through. You possibly get the ammo rack, or if you can, try and hit the rear of the turret, the bustle, and that way you should be able to take out this one. So we have a second replay. I hope the sound is not as bad as this one. I really don't know what actually happened. All I know is that I updated the game to bring in the new update, because I just had a replay which was for the new update, and at the moment I updated the game and put the new files in place, all of a sudden OBS failed on me, and now the sound sounds absolutely dreadful. I'm just hoping that this will come out okay, and I'm making minor adjustments to improve the sound. Hopefully it'll work. If it doesn't, I might actually have to go back to using the headset mic instead, which is not as good, but it might be the only solution otherwise. So let's have a look at the second game, and that's on the Ensk map. And here we are on the Ensk map, and battle's about to start. It sounds like he's got Arty as his commander. Okay, I'm going to use a Virgin client on this one because apparently it won't run with mods. Again, it's another problem we've had recently with games. The mods won't work, then unfortunately you have to run it with a Virgin client. But thankfully I am now keeping all the Virgin clients as well. Ow, that hurt. TNH Viz 51 managed to get around in, and can we get one back? No, unfortunately, and he hits our tracks this time round, which means that yeah, got some track damage, but that's okay. Oh, now that hurt. That's the new tank destroyer, the Czech one. The Shish PTK. Very weak. Just waited for the right moment to put an arm piercing through him. Yeah, he doesn't have much in the way of armor. Mind you, we have lost a fair bit of hit points so far, so yeah, we need to be careful from now on, otherwise we'll end up getting out of this game fairly quickly. Okay, enemy tank, trying us very, very hard, and then 49 Liberté. It's a tier 9 game this one, so we're top tier, so we're expected to do better. Ow, hit again in the tracks. Now he hasn't touched his repair kit yet. And oh, enemy. He gets a hit. Punches a hole into the IS-32. Ah, now the IS-32 is waiting just around the corner for us to come into view. Pulled back when he realized that, yes, he could actually get badly hurt. And finally we got some revenge on that TNH Viz 51, the one who hit us earlier. It is the same one. Mind you, he did get a hit on us as well for 576, which is, well, we got the hit for 576, which is a high roll. He got a hit for 401. Side scrape. See, they know the power of this 128mm gun. Desperately trying to get a shot in, but unfortunately TNH Viz 51 is out the game. That was a high roll, 587. Once again, nothing but standard ammo being used. Of course, it's not a case that he doesn't think that premium ammo is any good. It's just that he believes you can play the game with standard ammo, and he's right, you can do it. You see some of his results, you think that's a miracle, but no, it's just down to good play. Well, the Patriot actually managed to bounce his 90mm round off us. Oh, yes, there's Arty in this game. There's two on either side. The Patriot's taking a hell of a risk. Actually, he managed to get away with it there because that round hit the manlet, but it didn't go through. But now this Skoda is in trouble. Yeah, you notice how he was moving at the time when it hit, so obviously the shell couldn't get good purchase. But he's got a second shot and he wants to use it, he's itching to use it, but he's pulled back because of course he knows that the E75's gun is very, very good indeed. So, 2,800 hit points so far. There's a Lorraine 40 ton just around the corner. He's side scraping again on the other corner, see what he can see. Patriot's not in sight. Well, the Lorraine has just been wiped out, but we lost the Kunstpanzer. Enemy Arty's been located, so our Arty will be on top of him. Oh, lovely shot there on the back chat, 25T AP. It's a high roll for 534. The back chat wants some revenge. He's sitting on that corner. It won't be a good day for him if he pops out though, because he will die very, very quickly. Foster St. George is very quick with the snapshots. Yes, bad move, silly. Okay, well, the ISG 152 just drove around the corner and dipped the IS-3. Hello, yep, he's gone. That's 3 kills now, all with standard ammo, no premium abused. You know, it does make me wonder why Cross of St. George doesn't appear on more of the channels like Jingles, because Jingles doesn't like premium ammo either, but the fact of the matter is that Cross of St. George does play rather well with standard ammo. I know he might only be sending us some of his best results. Oh, the shish takes a... Let's go and shush shush. No, he hasn't gone shush shush yet, but he is badly damaged now, and... Oh! M4 Liberté. Get it right. Yep, he's out. So that's 4 kills now. The shusha's going bye-byes. And that means there's only 3 enemy left, and 2 of them are out in the field. Well, 3 of them are out in the field, actually. So we might as well head towards the cap area. We'll get shots on the Progetto and the FB3805. Unfortunately, we're not going to get shots on the Strip 1030 because he's actually gone way down south. Unless Cross St George decides to go down south. Which he might do, actually. Even at his slow pedestrian speed of 40 kilometers an hour. No, he's decided he wants that Progetto and the FB3805. Well, the FB's gone, so it's just the Progetto left, and he's sitting behind that house. We're aiming for the corner. Might as well just shoot straight through the building. I know it will absorb some of the shell, but there we go. Oh! He was robbed! The shell did not go where he expected it to. That's down to RNG because he was bang on the corner. He fired at the tank's engine bay and the shell went well past over the top of the engine. Well, we've only got a couple of seconds left and we've capped out. So it looks like the Strib has got away with it. And that is the end of the game. Here's the end of battle results, and this was a first-class tanker again for Cross of St George in the E75. He managed to get a fire for effect for doing more damage than hit points to his own vehicle, a fighter badge for getting at least 4 kills, he did get 4 exactly, as well as a shell proof for blocking more damage than hit points to his own vehicle, a duelist for taking down 2 tanks who damaged him, a bruiser medal for getting at least 5 critical hits in the game, he managed to get 5 exactly, and also got a hand of God for surviving the battle, having received damage from 4 different enemy tanks. On top of which, he managed to get the high caliber. He got 20% of the enemy hit pool and the most damage, as well as blocking the most damage as well, getting the steel wall, at least 11 hits, over 1,000 hit points of damage. And his win rate from that one was 7,767. So, yeah, I think that's slightly better, actually, although it's still a very superhuman standard and a high score, but it's not quite as high as he did in the previous game, if I remember correctly, because I think that was higher still. But anyway, let's have a look at team score. There he is, top of the table with 4,364 hit points. The second highest damage was the IS-32, who got 3,371, followed by the Progetto, who managed 3,077. When it came to kills, he shared the top spot with the P44 Pantera, who got 4. So did the Shush on the enemy team, got 4 kills. There you go. It's still not come up with the actual name and the figure or the graphic because they haven't designed it yet. And when it comes to base XP, yep, it's him at the top. So he's got the top in all 3 columns. 1,175 went to Cross of St George, 976 went to the Pantera, and 915 went to the IS-3. He fired 15 rounds in this game, got 12 direct hits on the enemy and 10 penetrations, 4,364 hit points, all of it done at close range, 11 hits received from the enemy, so we only just qualified for the steel wall, and 4 of those had pens, 6 non-pens, and 1 hit by way of splash damage as well, 1,990 hit points of damage blocked by armor. He spotted 4 enemy vehicles, damaged 6 in the enemy, killed 4, and did 499 hit points of damage assistance. He earned 65,427 credits from the game, and after repair, ammunition, resupply, this time round, he made a nice profit of 34,759 credits, and that's because he didn't have huge consumable charges to knock that down. 1,762 XP for the game, times 2 for the first victory, 3,526 for completing a mission, and 7,051 experience points altogether. So 2 very decent results in the heavy tank, the E75. It's quite a monstrous gun, really. It's a very, very good gun, but in actual fact, the E75 was never planned to have the 128mm gun, mainly because the KWK Aus E, mainly because they were actually going to fit the KWK-43, the L71, the 8.8 centimeter gun into it, which in actual fact is the stock gun in the game. So yes, It is a very accurate gun, fairly accurate, but it's the punch on that 128mm that really makes the E75 so formidable. And if you are a reasonably good player and you don't come across people who are spamming gold at you, then you can put up a decent fight. The unfortunate thing is that quite often, if it goes into a tier 10 game, it really does get bullied, the E75, because of course they've all got the pen to take him out, and there's not much that you can do in an E75 except do your best and try and aim for the weak spots on the enemy. I hope you enjoyed this replay or this video. I'm sorry that it's a test. I'm still trying to work out what went wrong, trying to correct it so we can get the sound back in line. The video still seems to be okay, but it's the sound that's completely gone up the haywire, and I'm pretty sure that it was something to do with the update that threw off OBS. Maybe I had OBS open at the same time, and maybe I hit something which actually changed the setting. But I will try and get it back, and I'm afraid for the meanwhile it means that a few of our replays are going to have pretty naff sound until I can fix the sound and get a better settings for it. So if you enjoyed that replay, please give it a like, do subscribe to our channel, leave a little comment down below because it feeds the algorithm, and thank you for watching.